Greetings, Kerbal noobs. I'm Sir Fucksword, and this is my Kerbal Space Program space station. Now I'm going to do an amazing science mission with my Bob, the scientist. And Bob's going to go around the Space Center and collect loads of data that normally means nothing, and is going to turn it into pure, unadulterated science. So this little seat that you see inside this service bay is going to use this to get into space, do an EVA and rendezvous with my orbiting space station called Scorpio. So step one is to put this rocket on the launch pad, and we're just going to leave it here. As you can see, the seats there, the doors are open already, and then we're going to go to phase 2. Phase 2 includes this crazy contraption that I've built, which I have called my ladder car, and inside it I have got Bill Kerman, who's an engineer. That means if I get a flat tire or something while I'm driving over to the rocket, then good old Bill Kerman can repair them. He can repair anything that's repairable, just so long it's not too high level for him to do it. Now we're just going to speed this up to 2 times so you don't have to watch me drive it all the way there in real time. It took me about 30 minutes of tweaking this thing to get the height right. It's probably still a little bit too high, and get the wheels in the right place so it weren't toppling over, and get some struts so it were nice and stable and stuff. And basically all its job is to get here, slow it back down again. So we're just going to get it to here, park it in position in front of that service bay where that little seat is, waiting for Bob the scientist, and we're just going to leave it there. So we're just creeping into position, look. Just make sure it's right in there, and then I'm going to put the brakes on. Boom. So that's phase 2. Phase 1 is get the rocket on the launch pad. Phase 2 is get the ladder car, and this is phase 3. Phase 3 is good old Bob the scientist going around all the biomes of the space station and the nearby ones, collecting all the data, and he's going to take it to the science lab that's orbiting as part of my, well, it's the only part of my space station so far. A bit later it's going to be a bit bigger, but so far it's just a science lab. So we've got uber speed, double time speed, and all you're going to see here is Bob the scientist driving around in his rover collecting data. Now in the action groups I have set all the science things to observe or do the tests or whatever when I switch on the lights, when I press the lights button. So every time I press the lights button, all the experiments go off, including the crew report. The only things that I can't do with the lights is do the EVA and the surface sample, so I have to do that manually. But when I've got an hour and I've collected all the data and stuff, I get back in and go back to space station. So first I took some data from the runway, and then I turned around and went to the grasslands and got data from there, and then again I turned around and came back towards the space center to get the biomes of the little buildings and all the data. So as you can see, as I'm collecting data in the top left, you'll just see loads of gobbledygook because it's words upon words upon words, and it's just a big mess. But you can see me collecting data from all the little biomes here. It's all in double speed this. It does take a little while, but it's going to be worth it in the end. So let's have a little talk about my rover. So I built this rover to take to the moon, and I sent one of my new employees there, a scientist, and he actually brought me back like 2,000 science or something, bless him, which enabled me to unlock loads of stuff. But anyway, on this rover you've got a Science Junior, you've got the mystery goo container and the barometer and the thermometer. There's also a seismic data thingy on it now, I think, that tests the vibrations of the planets. So I can also run that while I'm here as well. Also, it's got some rugged terrain wheels on there. I've not actually unlocked them, so luckily I had a contract that's asking me to test them in an orbit around the sun, so I thought, why not use them to my own advantage and send them to the moon. So they're the wheels, and then basically the main structure is just the RCS tanks and the Science Junior and the pod. And you see Bob there decided that he's sick of this collecting data and he was going to throw himself on the floor, but I soon convinced him that it's time that he needs to carry on collecting this data because the really fun mission's coming up soon. So there's also on the pod some RCS control thrusters. There's also some RCS engines there, as you can see, for propellant when there's no battery power left and there's no sunlight, for the solar panels which are on the back. And then there's also a parabolic antenna, which is that little round thingy sticking out the top. And then there's a bank of 4 batteries on the back there, which holds about 4,000 battery power. And then on the front you've got the lamps, and there's also an atmospheric scanner, which is another science thing which I forgot to mention before. So as you see there, I was clicking a lot until I found that I was in the right biome, and then I stopped because the shore is a bit finicky sometimes. Maybe I could have gone into the water and got back onto shore with my monopropellant engines, but decided against it. As you can see there, I'd run out of batteries because I'd forgotten to deploy my solar panels when I launched this thing. So I am using the propellant now, as you can see, because I had no battery power left, just to propel myself back towards the launch pad, because the mission's done. This phase is done now, and we just need to get Scientist Bob and all of this data that he's gone around collecting onto this rocket, into that seat that we prepared for him. So here he is on the launch pad. He's just about to get out and take all of his data, just so he don't leave it on the launch pad and go up there with Artie. As you can see, amazing amounts of gobbledygook there top left. You can't read a single word, I don't think. And as Bob's feeling a bit proud of himself, flashing his lights and stuff, saying, look at me, I've got loads of data, he starts to walk towards his ladder car. And all he has to do now is deploy the ladders at the bottom so he can climb up the first section. And all the ladders on the other section are all deployed, so all he's got to do then is climb up the main shaft of the ladders, and he has to climb onto the top, walk across, get into the seat, and we're ready to launch. So let's just watch him walk up the steps, bless him, with all his science in his pocket on this epic mission to retrieve, we don't even know how much science yet, you know. I've got to wait until I can transmit it back. But in the future, this is an investment for the future. In the future, we're going to have loads of science. So as you can see there, we've got him inside the service bay. Just get the nav ball out of the way there so we can get a view of him. Wow, he looks really happy, so he's definitely ready for this mission. And now we've got Bob in the rocket, we just need to get Bill to move the ladder car out of the way. So we're just going to back it up onto the skidway, or the, I don't know what it's called exactly, but we're just going to back it off of the launch pad, just so that the engines of the rocket don't throw it somewhere and blow it to a million pieces, because I do want to be able to recover these vehicles and get my money back. So Bill's just backing this up there, over there, and then once that's done, we're going to engage the probe, which is built into the rover, and then we're going to back that out too. So let's just back out the rover. Just need to turn it around a little bit there, and we're going to back him out. So let's just speed it up. So everything's in position now, and Bob's ready for his launch. Look at him, he's dead excited. Ooh, just gonna wait for the countdown now, so get ready, Bob, here it comes, mate. But don't get too excited, Bob, because first we need to make sure that we've got our timing right. So I'm just looking at the map there, and oh look, perfect timing is just in front of me, which is perfect because I'm gonna have a lower orbit than him. He's going to be above me, I'm going to be below him, so I'm going to be coming around the planet in a tighter circle than he is, so eventually I want to catch up with him, so we're at perfect timing. And good old Bob's off. He's off into space in the service bay, on his epic mission to retrieve all the science in the known universe. Now this rocket that Bob's sitting in is way too powerful for this mission. We don't need this entire rocket, but we're using it just because we can. And as I'm staging away the empty fuel tanks, we've got some Separatrons there to make sure that they don't come back and go boom and destroy my rocket. And also, they're equipped with parachutes so that they don't go and smack into my buildings and make them destroyed. But you don't want to watch this launch in real time, do you? So let's speed this up. So as we're going through this launch in double time, it's just a normal standard launch really, and I'm just aiming for an orbit that's smaller than his, because he's like 2,000 kilometers up and I'm looking for like 150. So I get me 150, I'll set up my maneuver, I'll probably warp to it and stuff, and then I'll... oh look, oh, let's just slow it down a bit. This is nice, getting rid of the fairing. Oh, look at that. That looks amazing. We had to slow it down a little bit there just so we could appreciate the amazingness of zero gravity and stuff flying everywhere. Anyway, that's enough of that, so let's just speed it back up again. And here I am burning my circularization burn. If I remember right, I think something came flying past me. I'm not sure. If it did, it'll be very soon. It'll be a bit of debris. But keep your eye out for that. Anyway, just fixing my nodes there, trying to bring it down to as close to zero as possible. There we can see good old Bob inside there. Now this is a problem, because old Bob can't get in the spacecraft properly. You see? Problem. Yes, and I can't switch spacecrafts or anything, so I lost all the staging. So this is just a cut. I cut it and put this bit in, so this is me getting another orbit, because that failed because of that. So I did it again. I launched my orbit, and this was a lot messier than my first launch. My first launch was great compared to this one. So here we are. I'm just fixing up my degrees of orientation in comparison to the space station, which you can see there floating in front of us. There's a little satellite marker there. And now I'm just trying to set up an encounter. And as I moved it around there, you can see on the other side of the planet I got a really close one, so I will burn that maneuver. And then probably speed up time, because it's only a small burn, or looks like I'm waiting for it. So yeah, I'm being patient with the looks of it, so I'm waiting for my burn times and stuff. And then I'm just going to warp closer to this encounter. And then I'm going to do my towards target, away from target burns. Now this rocket is really big and fat, so I did mess it up a bit. I went past it, it came past me, I went past it before I had my rendezvous. But as you'll see, I got there in the end. And this is all, remember, this is in double time. This rocket's not really spinning around this fast. It's really slow to spin around. And you'll see Scorpio come whizzing past me any second. Maybe. Did I mess it up? I don't know. I might actually have done it well. I can't remember how it went. I think it went whizzing past me. There it goes. Woof! Bosh, that's one time. It's going to do it again. So I'm just going to spin round and aim towards it and just try again. But I think that I actually went whizzing past it again. And it's all because this rocket's big and fat. But the plan was to get Bob out of the service bay, put him in the pod, stage the thing so that I've only got the little rocket left on the end. The bottom part of the rocket's controlled by a probe, so then I could have sent that back down to the planet and recovered the parts. And then the small rocket with Bob inside would have been so much easier to maneuver towards Scorpio, and this would have been a lot cleaner. But as it is, the game decided that it's going to bug on me. I tried it twice actually. That bug happened twice. I launched it twice from the launch pad and got all the way up to the point where I need to EVA Bob, take him out and put him in the pod, and it just didn't happen. All he did was kind of bug. The game thought he was in the pod, but he was clearly outside the pod. But I couldn't control him anymore. I couldn't control the rocket, couldn't switch rockets. I was pretty much couldn't do anything. So we're within 100 meters of him now, so let's get back to normal time. And as you can see, I'm just aiming towards the target marker now. And I'm going to try and make some progress towards Scorpio. I don't need to get extremely close, so I decided that, you know what, Bob, you can make it that far. with your little jetpack, buddy. So, look at all his data. He's got 109 data, bless him. And he's going to put that... Oh, he's going to get some more while he's out here, look. Cheeky bugger. He's a cheeky little scientist, Bob. But this is why I love him, because he always comes home with millions of science. Well, not millions. He comes home with a lot of science, though, bless him. So, he's just checking, making sure he can get all the science he possibly can before he enters the laboratory. This is the first part of my space station that I am constructing around Kerbin. There's going to be more parts to this later on, when I launch them and rendezvous them together, which is probably going to be a lot of work. But here comes a funny part. Here comes a funny part. This solar panel there, as I get onto the ladder, as you can see, the flap for the solar panel that opens up there gets Bob stuck. So something really hilarious ensues. Yes, now you can see Bob ragdolling and headbutting the space station and stuff has sent it into some kind of a weird spin. So for the next, I don't know, maybe minute or so, I frantically try and regain control. Now there's no pilot in this thing, and it took me a while to figure out that I've got no SAS either. But right now I'm trying to figure out why Bob can't get off here. So I retracted the solar panels, hoping that Bob's not going to get squashed. But it kind of worked out in my favour and pushed him away. He got away from the space station. So then I stabilised Bob, and then I switched to the space station. Then I was trying to make sure that there was someone in the pod, and at this point I was confused at what's happening. I thought the top pod was empty. I thought there was both in the bottom. I'm like, I need a guy in the top so I can control this thing, damn it. So yeah, it just takes me a couple of seconds to realise what's happening. So then I can take control of the thing and try and arrest this spin. It's quite a crazy spin, and I've not got any reaction wheels on it either, and all I've got to stop it from spinning is the monopropellant and the RCS thrusters. As you can see, I sped it up there in the spin, and it's not easy to get back under control. Now this is all because of Bob's fat head was stuck on the side of the space station, and the gravitational pull of his forehead was making it spin. Yep. Good old Bob and his great big science-ridden forehead. It also makes it a little bit difficult that I'm on the dark side of Kerbin, and there's no sunlight and stuff. So it's just really hard. But I really should be just looking at my nav ball. But then I just realised that, you know what? If I tap speed up time, the thing just stops. It just stops there in space. It stops rotating and everything. So I sped up time for like a second and then stopped it again. And then there's little Bob. I don't know if you can see him. He's just a little dot in the middle of the screen, trying to relocate Scorpio, because whatever happened to him after he bounced his head off of that thing, we don't even know. And he's still got that 109 data in his pocket, and we don't want to lose Bob in space. But there we go. We've relocated the space station and the laboratory again, and Bob's just going to try and get there. He's got his little lights on his great big forehead. He should be able to see where he's going. But the problem there was the solar panels, the placing of the solar panels. They're on the ladders. Bob grabbed onto the ladders and therefore got stuck underneath the solar panel. So that's my crappy design right there. But you know, Bob's a legend. He pulls through. He's a legend. He survived some crazy stuff, old Bob. So he's just 20 meters away now. And I did the wrong thing, and I thought I could get in through the docking pod, through the docking port, but nope. You do need to get another docking port on that before you can go through it. So what I'm doing here is trying to get in there. See, I set it as target. I'm like, here I come, I've got all the data, I'm coming. Old Bob's coming. Put kettle on. I need a coffee. So he's there, he's approaching the door. And he's like, knock, knock, let me in. And they're like, you idiot, come to the back door, mate. Because this one, you can't get in there, you idiot. So, old Bob, even though he's supposed to be a legendary scientist and know loads of stuff, tried to get through the docking pod. What a tool. So anyway, there we go. There's the actual entrance to the pod. And he's just floating gently towards it. Ta-da! He grabs onto the ladder. And we're going to get in. And as you can see, all the data in the top left will transfer with me. Boom! Loads of gobbledygook. If you can read any words there, it's probably about 4 you can read, and they'll be at the bottom. Now then. Time to re-extend that solar panel that I had to hide away so Bob could escape. And now Bob's inside the science lab. He's going to review all this data. And what he's going to do, he's going to process it in the lab. But what I was trying to do was transmit anything that would give me science and only put empty data in there, because that's what all we was going to do, stick the empty data in, because empty data will turn into science, and any science going in there would have been a waste. But again, my stupid design sent a space station into space with no way of communicating with Kerbal Space Station. Wow. These guys need a new boss, right? Anyway, so Bob's just going through his data, and I'm just going to stick it all in the science lab. Let's just speed this up, because it must be really boring to sit there watching Bob go through all this data. As you can see though, there's quite a lot. So hopefully in the future, I'm going to get quite a lot of science. But anyway, about the science lab, as you can see where it says mobile processing lab with the orange bar, it says 0.000-500. That means it's got 0 out of 500 science in it, and 523 out of 750 data. Now, this is where I realise that I've got no antenna, and I can't transmit anything back, so I'm just going to stick it in the lab anyway. Now, on this same bar that we were looking at before, where it says data, now the rate of data is 4.8 science per day. Okay? And to start that science being researched, I need to click Start Research. So I started it, and as you can see, science 0.001. Damn. It's working. 0.002. So when it's got 500 science in it, or therefore, or whatever, then I'm going to switch to this space station and transmit that science back home. Now, how much science I'm going to get out of that data that's in there is about 5 times the amount of data, I think. If I've read everything correctly, then that's it. But anyway, this is the next part of my plan, and this is a really funny part, because this guy is not as lucky as Bob. Now, this plan was, I'm going to EVA this guy, because this guy I just need a scientist back at home. I was going to leave Bob up there, because he's at higher level, he can get more science per day. And the 2 scientists that were up there were new recruits, they've got no levels or anything, and I was just going to bring this guy back home, and he would have probably leveled up. So I was flying towards the rocket that I flew up here with to get him in that seat that Bob was in and bring him back home. Now this is where everything goes all wrong, because I wasn't paying attention. So this guy, Jedbury, I believe his name is, Paul Jedbury, he flies way too fast at the rocket and headbutts it, and then you just have to watch what happens to him. Holy shit, did you see that? His arms went like 15 million miles long. I don't even know what's happening. Jedbury broke the game by headbutting that rocket. He seriously broke the game. I don't know how fast he bounced off that rocket, but he's heading straight back for Kerbin. He hit it so hard. Look how fast they are flying away from him. 858.6 meters per second. So we accelerated from 30 meters per second to 858. So he gained 820 meters per second velocity with his big fat head bouncing off that rocket. And I thought, you know what, I want to save you, but then I've just realised that 841 meters per second velocity, I'm not going to stop that with his little jetpack and his RCS fuel. Not a chance. So Jedbury had to resign himself to the fact that he's either going to be really lucky and he's going to be like Bob and survive some crazy shit, or his days are numbered. So let's just fast forward it a little bit until he's closer to the planet and see what happens to poor old Jedbury. So as I could take a quick look at the map, I see that, yep, Jedbrae's definitely going towards Kerbin. Nothing's going to save him now. So poor old Jedbrae. We can see him here is having a little bit of a panic attack. He don't know what to do. You can see the planets coming at him really fast. Now you can see he's getting a little bit warm. Oh dear. And he's getting really warm. Oh very dear. Poor old Jedbrae. Let's watch that in slow motion. Anyway guys, I'm Sir Fucksword. This was my mega science mission. I consider it a success even though Jedbrae fried himself to death. But thanks for watching this video guys. If you liked it, stick a thumbs up on it. If you got something to say then put it in comments. Until next one, peace.